Hello, everyone, and welcome to Love Chat with the Love Twins. I apologize for being a few seconds late here. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight, and I hope that you're excited for today's session because it is going to be incredible for you to get this. This is something that a lot of women struggle with, something I struggled with when I was single. And having a breakthrough in this made all the difference in the world for me, not just in my dating life, but in my whole life. So I want to start by asking you something pretty bold right from the start. How many times have you rushed into something with a man? Maybe a dating experience, or even once you started dating, you rush into things faster than what you feel comfortable with because it felt exciting at the beginning. You felt like there was a lot of chemistry there. And only later did you realize that he wasn't actually aligned with what you really wanted for yourself. If you've ever had that experience, go ahead and type me in the chat because, again, this is something that we see over and over again. This past 2 weeks, I've coached so many women on this. And so if you rushed into something, go ahead and put in the chat. And then you realize later on, this isn't a match for me. Some of you may be there, and others of you may be on the other side of the spectrum. And what I mean by that is, how many of you aren't dating at all right now because you feel too busy? Maybe you feel guarded, you have your guard up, or you're just tired. You're tired of being disappointed with your whole dating experience. How many of you have felt that? Type. So let's do it this way. If you rush, go ahead and type rush in the chat. And if you're on guard, type guard in the chat. So yeah, Becca, it's important to be selective, but I'll tell you, there's being selective, and then there's something else that we see a lot too, which is you put so many, like this wall of, we call them the 72 point quality assurance checklist. It's this wall of expectations that you'd have to be perfect to be able to meet all those qualities, which means there's no perfect human being, so they're not going to show up. So, okay, Becca says, I'm told I'm too selective. Okay, guarded, guarded. I see guarded. I see me for way too many times. I have rushed through that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. So thank you, ladies, for your honesty. I can sense your excitement in the chat, and I'm glad that you're here because we're really going to talk about how patience and presence lead to real connection tonight. All right. So whether you're rushing too much or you're guarding yourself, I want you to really lean into today's conversation because neither of those patterns is going to create the extraordinary love that you truly desire. Neither one of those is going to do that. So tonight, I want to give you a breakthrough that has the power to change everything. Because patience and presence are actually the fastest way to create lasting love. Because what they provide for you when you're being patient and you're being present is you get clarity, you get confidence, and you can create a real connection. So let's go ahead and dive in today, okay? So, as I was saying before, one mistake that we see so often in the work that we do is women rushing through the dating process. So, if you found yourself rushing, you're not actually getting to know who the other person is, who this man is. What you're doing when you're rushing is you're projecting some kind of illusion or some kind of expectation on someone. So, in other words, you're filling in the blanks with who you want this person to be instead of slowing down long enough to see and discover who he actually is. This is one of the most important things in dating. And even those of you who said you're guarded yourself, I promise that if you follow this coaching, you're going to feel safer, especially if you learn some of the things that we teach in a program I'm going to talk to you about, event we're having coming up in a couple of weeks that will help you to be able to feel more comfortable with yourself and more comfortable in the dating experience. So when you're filling in the blanks with who you want him to be, you're not really connecting with who's actually in front of you. So I'm going to give you a real life example. It's one of my clients. She's a powerhouse. She's smart, brilliant, successful, and she's used to the fast pace, right? She's always moving fast. So she met a man, and right away she thought, this guy's perfect. He was perfect on paper. He was saying all the right things. And by the third date, they're talking about trips that they're going to take together and meeting each other's family in the future. And that might sound like, oh, I would never do that. I promise you, many people fall into this. Maybe it's not the third date. Maybe it's the fifth date. Maybe it's not even a date. It's people are doing this through text right now. And it's not about judgment. It's about just understanding what's driving that and what's driving it, and then what it's creating, because it's not creating what anybody really wants. And for this particular client, she was talking about trips and families and things they were going to do together in the future without really knowing who he was. And she was swept up in this chemistry. And also, we talked about this a couple weeks ago on Love Chat, in her masculine energy of making it happen, like that fast pace, which works really well in the business world and doesn't work when it comes to dating and relationships, because you want to be in that present, slow energy when it comes to dating, taking your time. So what happened with her is 3 months later, it was over. And she was heartbroken. And this wasn't the first or the second or the third time that she found herself in the same situation. So looking back, as we were talking and I was coaching her through the ending of this relationship, she realized that she moved way too fast, that she was already planning a future with someone that she didn't even know. And because she was so focused on the future and not who was right there in front of her in the present, which is where presents come in, she missed some very important things. Like she missed that he was inconsistent. He didn't follow through on promises or commitments. He would say one thing and do something else. So his words and his actions weren't matching. Sometimes he would flip things around, and like if he had a shortcoming, turn it around on her, or he just wasn't fully in integrity. And that was one of her values. So right there was already a mismatch, because you want to make sure that the values of the person that you're dating and getting to know, that they match. You may not have 5 out of 5, but it's got to be at least 4 out of 5 values that match your top values, because otherwise you're going to find that it creates conflict. And we've seen this over and over again over the 16 years that we've been coaching women. So she rushed and got caught up in that chemistry because she just loved that feeling, right? The adrenaline, which a lot of us who are in that fast pace, we go for the adrenaline. We're always looking for the, beat the deadline. Well, she didn't realize she was moving in that same pace in her dating life. And she really wanted a commitment because she was tired of being alone. And she finally found somebody she felt they had a lot in common. But she never slowed down to actually notice who and how he really was. So let me ask you, have you ever confused chemistry with compatibility, like true compatibility? Because you didn't slow down enough to see clearly. So put chemistry in the chat if you've ever confused chemistry for compatibility. It's a very common thing. We feel all these emotions. We feel that adrenaline rush. We're just moving so fast that we miss, are we really compatible? And if there's the chemistry is, sexual attraction, physical attraction, even more so, because then all these hormones are coming into the picture, and it really does cloud your judgment when you're feeling all of that hormone and passion. You could miss it if you don't slow down. All right. So thank you, ladies, for sharing that. So when you rush, I want you to get this, because remember I said what works in business doesn't always work in dating and relationships. Like being able to have great communication works in business and in dating and relationships, but not everything, can be cross-referenced that way. So I want you to hear this. Where being on a fast pace in business gives you an advantage, it creates a disadvantage in love. Because when you rush, you give your power away. I say it again. When you rush, you give your power away. But when you slow down, you shift that dynamic. You get your power back because you stop chasing excitement and you start building discernment. That's where you become the chooser instead of waiting to be chosen. And that's the power of patience and presence. So go ahead and start typing in the chat what you are hearing for yourself, because this is very important. It's going to be such a game changer for you ladies when you learn how to do this. Get out of the rush, get out of the pool for chemistry, because it is a pool. It pulls you in, and actually take a step back and say, you know what? I'm going to stop chasing and I'm going to start building discernment so I can connect more with what I'm feeling deeper than just passion and excitement. What's connected to who I really am and what I really value and want to experience. So I want to take it a little bit deeper for you. Slowing down isn't just about patience. Here's another gift you get from slowing down. You get to trust yourself, which is missing for a lot of us, which is part of why the guard goes up. And it's also why we rush to find out, is this it or not? Rather than discerning, is this it or not? So here's what I see a lot. A lot of women don't actually trust their own inner wisdom when it comes to dating and relationships, because they've been hurt, because they've made poor decisions in the past, because there's the environment they grew up in, because of something traumatic that's happened. You start not trusting yourself. You believe somebody that you thought was trustworthy and they weren't, and then you start second guessing yourself. So what happens when you don't trust yourself is you end up outsourcing your trust. So this is where you start asking friends, what do they think? So if you find yourself telling your whole life story to your friends, even if it's one friend, to get confirmation that you're headed the right way versus knowing that you're headed in the right direction, that's something to look at. Or maybe you outsource it to reading endless books and endless blogs and watching videos and reels and stories. You're outsourcing your trust rather than really being able to trust yourself. And even worse than that, what happens when you outsource it, you're also mistaking infatuation, that chemistry feeling, with real connection. So that's what happens when you rush. That's what happens when you're not being patient. That's what happens when you're not being present, when you're not taking your time, when you're not clear really on what it is that you want. Some of you are crystal clear on what you don't want, but if I asked you what you want, it would be about what you want him to be, what you want him to do, rather than what you need and want within yourself and in the kind of relationship you want to be in. So it's about slowing down. And if you slow down and you get really clear with who you are, not who your past says you are, not who your ex says you are, not who your mother said you were, but who you really are and what you really want, outside of fear or the mistakes of the past or the experiences of the past, and you learn how to date to create real connection, to create real discernment, what's going to happen is you'll be able to pay attention to your intuition, and you'll actually be connected to your intuition. You know, there's a real skill to being able to connect to your intuition. There's a skill to being able to tell if someone is really aligned with what you want, who you are, what you value, or if it's off. There's a real skill to being able to know if a man's character and his energy is a match for you, or if something's not quite adding up. There's a skill to dating in a way that has you to be able to feel very present and confident and safe within yourself how to date effectively, so that you are able and you give yourself permission to take your time in getting to know someone, and not just one person, knowing how to date more than one person and being able to manage that and not get overwhelmed by it and not make up stories about it. Have fun with it. So when you're able to have these skills, then you don't have to rush into something that's going to lead into heartache, or you don't have to be so guarded that you won't even give yourself space or permission to connect with someone who could be a perfect match for you. So I want to share a story. Another one of my clients. Now, if you looked at her from the outside, she seemed to have everything together: career, beauty, influence. People really liked her. Men were very attracted to her. But when it came to dating, she kept falling for men who looked amazing on paper. But beyond paper, they lacked follow through. They didn't match her values. And they ended up, telling her one thing, doing something else. And then what happened is she was just left disappointed and feeling defeated. How many of you have felt defeated when it comes to dating because you keep experiencing disappointment? Go ahead and type D for defeat or disappointment in the chat. So what happened is she was so busy and so used to that fast-paced energy that she would get swept up quickly in that fast pace of dating. But then what happened was that over and over again, those dating experiences or the short-lived relationships that she had, they all ended the same way. She just felt like it wasn't happening for her. And she told me one day, I knew from the beginning there was something off. It just wasn't clicking, but I didn't pay attention to it. And she didn't pay attention to it because she was moving too quickly through that process. So there is a difference between impulse and intuition. And many women are acting on impulse. You're acting impulsively versus being connected to your intuition, or you're outsourcing your intuition to other people. So impulse is fast, it's noisy, it's chemistry driven. Intuition is steady, it's centered, it's quiet, and it's deeply aligned. So let me ask you, can you think of a time when you've ignored your intuition about someone? And then think about what it cost you to ignore that. Now, you got to do this without judging yourself or criticizing yourself. This is an opportunity to acknowledge something that isn't working and bringing it forward as something that's not working and something that you could transform through the acknowledgement of it, because you can't transform what you don't acknowledge. All right, so I see yes. All right. So this is why patience and presence matter, because what they do is they create space for your intuition to show up. And when you can trust your intuition, you can trust yourself. It's your built-in compass. And it guides you clearly when you can actually hear it, not as an impulse to rush something or avoid something, but as a clear message of alignment. All right, so yeah, some of you are saying it cost me everything. It cost me 8 years to not pay attention to my intuition. Let me see, I've listened to my intuition, otherwise the results are not the best. Being able to, yes, it left me insecure about trusting myself. When you don't trust your intuition and you go on impulse. Yeah, so then you become nervous about dating and you put, very good, Veronica, you put flags everywhere in order to avoid getting hurt, and then you wonder why you're standing behind a wall of red flags. It doesn't give you any more security to put up the red flags. If you tell yourself the truth, ladies, the walls that you build don't make you feel secure. They just keep you out and away and keeps them out and away. But the them that's out and away, there's some of them that are great, but you're not going to be able to see them, and they're not going to be able to recognize you behind that wall. This is why this is so important, to know how to date, to be able to tell clearly, what is really aligned with who I am. I used to go all the time on impulse, and I confused it with intuition. So when I'm teaching this to you, I'm telling you it, and I said at the beginning, it made all the difference for me to be able to tell the difference between the two and to stop rushing. And the rushing was part of trying to get to a commitment rather than really getting to know, who is it that I'm committing to? What is it that I'm committing to? And is this even worth my time, my attention, and my commitment? So it really just, that's what I say, you get your power back, and it shifts the dynamics, and you feel powerful, you feel confident, you feel like you can trust yourself. And when you feel like you can trust yourself, you feel like you can make choices that are really moving you forward in life and love to the future that you really want to experience, not the one that you just get and then have to repeat the lesson and repeat the lesson. Because until we learn it, it keeps repeating. That lesson will keep repeating until we learn it. So you want to give yourself, through patience and presence, the space for your intuition to actually be able to kick in so it can guide you. All right. So patience gives you space. Intuition gives you guidance. And being present is what allows you to build connection. So you can see how they all build on each other. So when you're truly present with a man that you're dating, getting to know, instead of rushing ahead or instead of shutting down and putting up the red flags, you actually get to see and experience him. And you actually get to see and experience yourself when you're with him. So important. You're going to notice how he shows up over time, not just at the beginning, over time. You're going to also be able to feel what you feel like when you're with him. Do you feel safe or nervous? Do you feel confident, or do you have to perform? Do you feel like you can trust what he's saying, or do you feel like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop? These are all really important things to be able to tell. You'll be able to see, is he consistent? Do words and actions match, or are they off? And you'll get to discover if you enjoy being with him beyond surface attraction or just physical attraction, which is important, but it's not everything. It's not going to carry the day in a lifelong relationship, physical attraction in and of itself. There's got to be more depth to it. So as you get to know him, you're going to get to know, is he right for you? And here's the real magical part of it. The real blessing part of it, I will say. When you stay present and you're being patient, the right man reveals himself naturally. You don't have to force it. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to perform for it. It will reveal itself. He will reveal himself, his true self, to you. So let me just ask you this. What would change in your love life if you stopped rushing or guarding yourself and started being able to trust your intuition? What would change in your love life? Go ahead and type it in the chat. Yeah, thank you, Patrice, for sharing that. I overrode my intuition, which was clear, and I agreed with, and I got lost in my own mistake and fantasy story I created around it. And that's what can happen. It's a very common situation. So let's see. So Patrice says, if she actually was able to trust her intuition and let go of the rushing and all of that, she would be able to have peace of mind, make better decisions. Who else? What else do you see as possible? If you were able to get out of either rushing or guarding yourself, and you were able to trust yourself and trust your intuition, what would that make available for you in your love life? These are the kind of questions you want to ask yourself, because otherwise, this is really good information, but it will not make the difference that it's intended to make for you. You've got to ask yourself those questions and let somebody guide you through that process, because otherwise, you're not going to know what to do after you discover that. So let me see. Possibility and connection is possible. Milagro says, my wall can be felt. I'm tired of the lessons, but the connection that I made 20 years has been the best. I love the safe feeling. Only 2 to 3 men in 25 years have made me feel that way. And I would be fully seen and accepted. So if you let the wall down, you would be fully seen and accepted. And here's the thing, it won't take you another 20 years. It won't take you another 25 years to figure this out. If you're able to let this go and you learn how to do everything that I've shared here with you today, and you're able to just lean into your intuition. Well, who wouldn't be wasting their time, Cheryl? Who wouldn't be wasting their time? What's available is me, myself. Veronica says, comfort with my choice. Kelly says, the problem is I don't recognize I had a strong intuition about something until I had already made the mistake. How do I learn to recognize my intuition as it happens? Ooh, that's a great question. I'm going to give you more information on how you can actually learn how to do that, Kelly. Thank you for asking that, because that's really where you're going to be able to really connect the dots for yourself. Because finding out after it happens, it's helpful. What's even more helpful is how do I, in the process of being there, of dating, of answering the questions, of getting to know someone, of reading the chats back and forth, of having conversations, of going out on the first, second, third date, how do I actually know how to do that? How will I be able to tell? It's great, Kelly. Thank you for asking that question. I'm going to answer that question in just a moment. I would feel so relaxing. It would feel so relaxing to just let the relationship unfold. Absolutely. It is completely different experience when you are dating this way, because you don't have to be worried about what the outcome is going to be. I know some of you are so tired of being worried about what the outcome is going to be. I would be very comfortable with myself and who I am and the choices that I'm making and be at peace, and there's no hurry. We have plenty of time, and I would just enjoy the relationship as it's happening. Beautiful. What is possible is me loving and not settling. Love that, Zara Rose. All right, so you're starting to connect with, oh, I can imagine me being really me and free. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Kermi Opa. All right, so let me keep going with this, because I could just sit here and read all your comments all day. And those of you who are watching the replay, we want to see your comments as well. So what if you gave yourself permission to slow down, to be present, to learn how to date this way, to be able to trust yourself, that you are able to identify when the right man is in your space? That would be awesome. So that is the shift. This is it. The same patience and the presence that build your success in life can build it in love as well, but only if you stop rushing or stop pushing it away. And also if you stop applying timelines and strategies. Timelines and strategies work great in business. They don't work great in matters of the heart. So here's what I want you to take away in tonight's love chat. Love is not built in the rush or in the push. Love is revealed in time. So if you're tired of rushing into the wrong relationships, or you're tired of sitting on the sidelines, of being so guarded or being too busy to open your heart, then right here, right now, this is your wake-up call. The breakthrough that you're craving isn't about doing more. It's about slowing down. It's about coming back to yourself and to let your feminine wisdom, your feminine essence lead you. And that's exactly what we're going to walk you through at our next challenge, which is the Be Beautifully You 4-day challenge. And it's coming up September 15th through the 18th, just a couple weeks away. Now, this is not another surface level challenge workshop type thing. It is 4 days of deep coaching with us, where you'll uncover the exact patterns keeping you from love, where you'll be able to reconnect to your truest version of yourself, to reconnect to your intuition, and learn how to become the kind of woman who's able to attract a man who's consistent, who's aligned, who's ready for an extraordinary relationship that you desire, and be able to tell him from the ones who are not. So on September 15th through the 17th, we'll all be together. And then there's a special exclusive session for those of you who take the opportunity and the invitation to join VIP on September 18th, where we're going to take you even deeper and we'll give you additional coaching that's not in the other 3 days, so that you really walk out of there with everything you need to be able to lean into your intuition and to discover who you really are. There are amazing breakthroughs waiting for you at this challenge. What we hear back in feedback from women just in 3-4 days, what they're able to create, what they're able to break through, what they're able to discover, what they're able to let go of is absolutely incredible. So here's the thing. If you are serious, you're serious about not wasting another minute, yet another year alone, stuck in the same cycles, over and over again, learning the same lesson over and over again. You want a new lesson and one that sticks and makes a difference. And if you're ready to invest your time in yourself and finally create that love that matches who you really are, then you cannot afford to miss this event. So you're going to click on the link that Diane's going to put in the chat for the Beautifully You Challenge. Okay. Diane, can you drop that? I haven't seen it yet. And it's beautifullyouchallenge.com, but it's a little bit complex. Hold on a second. I don't know if I can do it. No, I can't. All right. So we're going to have to drop it in there. I'm going to trust Diane is listening to me. She's going to do that for me. And when you click on the link, what you're doing is you're not just signing up. You're actually showing up for yourself. All right. So you're saying yes to your breakthrough. And we get to support you in creating the love story you've been waiting for. All right. So go ahead and do you all see the link? Because I may not see it. Type link in the chat if you see the link, because something happened with the chat and it stopped for me. I want to make sure. Okay, so it's going to be September 15th through the 18th. Now, on the 18th, there's a special day for VIPs. Okay, we don't see the link, Diane. I can't. Okay. Okay, hold on a second. We'll get that in there for you, okay? I'm not able to join the chat here. Hold on. I don't want to do it through. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Diane. I still don't see the link. I see the blurb, but not the link. All right. So we're gonna get that for you. I'm so glad so many of you are asking for that. We'll make sure we get it for you. So what I was saying is September 15th through the 18th, and then on the 18th, so the 15th, 16th, 17th is the three days of challenge for the whole group. Then there's going to be some of you who really want to step into the VIP experience. And when you step into the VIP experience, you'll be able to have an extra day with us. And actually, you have 2 extra sessions. So it becomes a 5-day challenge for you. You'll have one on the 18th and one on the following week. All right. Diane, we still don't see the link. We see the information, but not the link. Can you please make sure that you drop that in there? Okay. I'm not going to stop the live until we get that link in there for you, ladies. Okay. All right. So I want to hear from you. What are your takeaways? What are you walking away with? I know you're coming to the Beautifully You Challenge, but what is the biggest thing that you're walking away with? Let's see here. Oh, thank you, Nada. All right. Let me see. Give me just a second. I want to make sure. Okay. All right. So we're getting that information for you. Something's going on the tech side. So let me see. What are you all getting? I want to see here. So it's always it's always a blessing to be VIP. Yeah. Love reveals itself in time. I'm so glad you got that, Teresa. Thank you, Rose, for dropping the link. Let's do a blurb with the link so people know. Committed is the reward, not the goal. I love that, Veronica. I have everything I need within myself. Yes, you do. And it's taking that and allowing, okay, because I hear this a lot. So you absolutely all, by the way, you have everything you need inside of you. The thing is that what you really want and desire is blocked by the things that you still haven't let go of, or by a lack of skill that you need to get. And that's why we want you the Beautifully You Challenge. Everybody here has the capacity to create extraordinary love. The thing is, sometimes you don't recognize, or you don't realize, or you haven't identified, or you're not even aware that there's something that you're doing or not doing that's blocking it. And until you are able to see that, and many of us need someone to point that out to us, because if we could see our own blind spots, they wouldn't be called blind spots. They'd be called I see you spots. So if you can't see it, you can't do anything about it. And so that's what you get to allow to be revealed to you at the Beautifully You Challenge. Okay, there we go. We got the link in there. It's a free event. Go ahead and register. But here's the thing, register and show up. Register and start today looking at, what do I need to do in my life to create the space and time so that I'm focused during that event, so that no matter what happens in my life, instead of reacting to the circumstances in my life and taking my love life and putting it to the side, I'm going to put my love life front and center. I'm going to put myself front and center, and I'm going to have the circumstances of my life navigate around that. Imagine if you were so confident and so connected to who you are that things can come up. Some emergency happens, or something at work happens, or somebody tells you something and now you're all in a tizzy. And instead of just backing out of your transformation, you actually lean into your transformation. Imagine that some disappointment happens, and instead of writing off everything and just sitting down and ruminating on that for hours, you actually were in a challenge that could help you rise above your thoughts and your emotions, to be bigger than your thoughts and your emotions, particularly the ones that stop you. Imagine that. If you did it already, do it again. If you're not in the relationship of your dreams, come back. There's always I don't say, oh gosh, I've already done enough transformation because I'm a coach. No, I'm always going to the next level. I don't let that stop me. And if you've already done it, share it with somebody else. This is where generosity creates abundance. The more generous you are, the more you will actually receive in your life. So I'm really making a call to action here for you all to really step up. So sign up, show up, step up, and then experience the love and the life you've always wanted. All right. So that is the invitation. We have the link in the chat. Register today. If you have a habit of procrastinating because you have to think it through, that's not trusting yourself. If something inside of you is saying, I know I get to be there, and it would be freaking awesome if I could have 3 days and I don't let anything in my life stop me, and 4 days if I do VIP, and 5 days if I do VIP with the 2 sessions, where I am at the focus of my life. Listen, you want a man to focus on you for the rest of his life? Start focusing on yourself. Notice what happens around you when you do that. And I don't mean just like focus on your nails. I mean, focus on yourself. Not just focus on your hair, focus on yourself, your life, your love life, your heart, your spirit, your courage, your confidence, your ability to be patient rather than trying to push through and make something happen that wasn't naturally going to happen. Because at the end, when you rush and you try and push something that wasn't naturally going to happen, it ends up disappointing you. So you get to break out of the patterns that keep you in heartache, break out of the patterns that keep you doubting yourself, and really be able to elevate yourself to a new level of loving yourself, knowing yourself, and a new level of being able to trust yourself. All right. So I cannot wait to see all of you there at the Beautifully You Challenge. I can't wait to see you there with your girlfriends so that you create an environment around you that really supports you in up leveling your love life rather than ruminating and talking about how much it sucks out there, which I promise is not going to make a difference for you in any real way that's worth it. And this gets to be, we just started September. We've got 4 months left in the year. 4 months left in 2025. It feels like yesterday was New Year's Eve. What do you want these next 4 months to be about? Let's start. If 2025 is your year for love, you still have 4 months. The majority of the women who work with us and actually do the work, they don't pick and choose the work they're going to do. They actually do the work. 3 to 9 months from the time they start working with us are in the relationship of their dreams. The ones, some of them, it may take a little bit longer, but the ones that it takes any more than a year and a half is because they're doing it their own way. But when they do it the way that it's designed, 3 to 9 months, and many of them within a year are married. And those of you in relationships, you actually do the work, it will transform you. And in transforming you, you could transform and inspire transformation in your relationship. Stop sitting around waiting for him to change. And stop, for God's sakes, trying to change him, manipulating and strategizing for him, to get him to change, to get him to do anything. Transform yourself, transform your life, transform your love life. And make 2025 the year where everything changed for you. And let us guide you through that process. We know how to do it. We're experts at it, and we're ready to do it. All right? Okay, so that's it for tonight's session. We'll see you at the Beautifully You Challenge September 15th through the 18th. I hope many of you sign up for VIP so we get extra time together. And then next week, you can join us on Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern for another session of Love Chat with the Love Twins. Thank you so much for participating the way that you have tonight. I am so excited for what you're going to create next. And until our hearts meet again, always remember that you are loved. Goodbye for now.